Welcome to Mindset Monday. Do you know who you are? Do you really know who you are? Not from the perspective of the roles you play at work and at home or in society, but the real you, the person behind the titles, the person behind the responsibilities. Why does this matter, Ryan? Why does this matter? Because growth is only possible when you first understand yourself. You must know yourself to grow yourself. And the truth is, no one can produce great things without being sincere in dealing with themselves. Today, we're going to dive into the law of awareness, fundamental principle that teaches us that self-awareness is the key to unlocking your potential. It's not, if you're not aware of who you are, your strengths, your passions, open to discovering your purpose, how can you ever hope to reach the next level in your life? I say open to discovering your purpose because a lot of times when you ask people what their purpose is, they don't know. And that's okay. But if you're open to discovering the purpose, if you're open to the process of discovery, that'll lead you in the direction. So you must know yourself to grow yourself. Now, think about this for a second, right? Personal growth isn't just about learning new things, mastering new skills, or even changing your circumstances. True growth starts with understanding who you are at your core. If you're not aware of your strengths, your weaknesses, those passions, or even what truly drives you, it's like setting out on a journey without a map. You don't know where you're going, right? Your passion will drive you. And sure, right? Without that, you'll be moving, you'll be doing things. But if you don't have that map, you're not going anywhere. That quote from the beginning sums it up. No one can produce great things who is not thoroughly sincere in dealing with themselves. That's the essence of the law of awareness. Growth isn't about pretending to be someone else or trying to meet other people's expectations. It's about knowing yourself well enough to realize or to discover, being open to discover the areas that you need to grow. It's about being honest with yourself. So ask yourself, do you really know who you are? Ryan, do I really know who I am? What are my values? What are my strengths? What are the things that keep me up at night because they're so important to me? And so when we begin to explore these questions, we begin to start to understand the process of discovery and start uncovering some of the answers to those questions, we unlock a path of growth that not many get to. It's not just about moving forward, but it's about moving forward with clarity. I'm gonna dive into something like finding your passion and being open to discover your purpose right? How do you begin to figure that out? Well, it starts with asking yourself the question of, do you like what you're doing now? So I meet with a group every Friday morning, and we call it Friday at 5 a.m. And it was started by a gentleman by the name of Robert Collins. And Rob, he's an entrepreneur, multiple businesses, but his primary business is in marketing, social media management and marketing. And this was a passion project of his to start this group, a group of individuals, most business owners, but some in different arenas. But to bring individuals together to create a knowledge bank and also to give information, right? And to help each other grow. And Rob brings the content to the meeting. And last Friday, he talked about a concept that was extremely powerful to me that I'll talk about in a minute. But it's down this line of figuring out what your purpose is. Like I said, most people, when you ask that question, what is your purpose? They don't know, right? But you can ask them what they're passionate about. And most people will be able to give you some things that they're passionate about or be open to discovering their passions, which will then get you on the path to discovering your purpose, right? So the first question is, what do you like to do? I'm sorry, the first question is, do you like what you're doing now? That's a straightforward question, right? But when most people hear that question, their answer is no. And that's okay, right? In fact, no is the starting point. When you know what you don't want, then you can then better identify what you do want, right? Some of you might be thinking, well, I can't just quit my job tomorrow. And I agree. Then the next question is, what gets you excited, right? What gets you excited? What energizes you? While you're at your current job, looking at this as an opportunity. If you're in a space that you don't want to be, what can you take from that? Right? What aspects of the role do you enjoy? What aspects of the role do excite you? Everything may not, but some will, right? And then you can identify what skills you can then learn while in that role that will help you on that path of discovering what you actually enjoy, what you do love to do, and to move you closer to really discovering what you're passionate about, which then gets you on the path to discovering your purpose, right? I've seen it happen so many times, and even with myself, right? We fall into jobs out of convenience or necessity. I need this, or even pressure from others. My parents said I gotta do this. I gotta be a doctor. I gotta be a lawyer. Here in Michigan, Southeast Michigan, I gotta go work at one of the plants, right? But and they stay on those jobs on autopilot for years, right? It's what I got to do, right? And they never stop to think about whether they actually chose the path that they're on or just drifted into it, right? And that's why it's so important to be intentional about your direction. And just because you're in a job that you don't love doesn't mean that you can't extract value from it. Every situation teaches us something, and we can identify the lessons that are necessary to move us in the direction that we do desire to go, right? It's all about the perspective in which we see the world, right? Everything happens for a reason. Every situation, every experience can teach us something if we're open to learn the lesson, right? And you can choose to see your current job either as a dead end or you can see it as a stepping stone towards something greater. For the longest time, That's what I've been able to do. Each position, and when I talk about them, I talk to them from the perspective of this is a mean time position. In the meantime, until I get to where I'm going, I'm here to learn lessons, develop skills. In the meantime, right? So I used each position that I've had as a stepping stone to learn more about myself, to learn more about people, to learn more about leadership, to learn more about organizational design, so that I can then take steps. So Robert Courtney Collins, what he talked about is he does this thing where he takes people through a process and he asks them three questions and he has them create a statement for themselves. And I thought this was a really, really profound way of going about it. And it really got my mind running on things. But the three questions are: what's your passion? What's your promise? What's your plan? What's your passion? What's your promise? What's your plan? What's your passion? What are you truly just passionate about that you'll do at any time, even if you did it for free? What is that thing that you would do? Right? And he was talking to us from a business perspective and from perspective of business owners, right? What's your passion in your business? But you can even take this into a perspective of life. What is your passion? What are you truly passionate about? Second thing is, what is your promise? With that passion, what do you promise to deliver? What do you promise to deliver? My passion is helping people grow and evolve into the next best version of themselves. What I promise to deliver is key actionable steps and frameworks to help people take the next step in their life. That's what I promise to do. And what's my plan? What vehicle will you use to achieve said things? What vehicle will you use to achieve said things? What's your passion? What's your promise? What's your plan? Right? So keep that. Think about that. The next piece in this awareness thing is, what would you like to do? Right? As you're starting to discover that passion, what are things that you would like to do? Right? Passion fuels your potential. But once you find what truly lights you up, keeps you up and really, really energizes you, right? That passion will naturally push you to reach your potential, right? It gives you the energy, the drive to continue moving forward through the tough times, right? What would you like to do? Well, I don't know. That's okay. Continue to ask yourself the question. Because the more you ask yourself the question, the more you focus on discovering the answer, the more things will come into your awareness. You'll start to discover different things about yourself that you may not have even realized, right? I've told you guys this. When I was in college, I wanted to be a teacher, right? Well, back up. Initially, I wanted to be a physical therapist, right? I'm going to physical therapy, potentially go to med school. Boom, boom, boom. Got to Kent State University and taking my courses, and I was like, this doesn't really fit what I'm trying to do. Because I knew then that I wanted to impact people, but I was still trying to figure out in what area. So physical therapy wasn't it. Change to education. All right, beautiful. And I go through courses and things change in life. And father's passed away and I changed some things around, but cool. I get my degree in sports science and education because I knew I still loved sports, right? I still wanted to be connected to athletics in one way, shape, or form, but maybe I need to impact kids, right? So let me get this education degree and go teach. Got my degree, get a job, high school that I graduated from, boom, I'm teaching. Public school system, beautiful. I thought this was the perfect way to change the world until I saw the red tape that I was going to have to go through that at the time I didn't think was necessary, right? And I realized that the school system didn't align with my values, right? And I didn't know at that time how to change the actual system itself. So I said, this isn't for me. And I saw colleagues struggling, being underpaid, overworked, right? And truly just unhappy in the role. And I saw school board executives being paid $1 million when they're cutting teacher salaries. So, God, this isn't quite for me. It wasn't the environment that I had imagined. And I realized that maybe I could shift my path a little bit, right? But the realization wasn't a failure for me, right? It was honestly a turning point, and it really pushed me to going down a path of really trying to discover and understand why people do what they do, which ultimately got me here in front of you today, right? And I started exploring new ways on how to help people and really how to impact not just children, not just adults, but people, period, right? And that's the power of being honest with yourself about what you want to do, right? When you discover that passion, it begins to really, really drive you. And I've gone down the line of reading books and building relationships with people. I've never been a big reader, but I developed this passion. So I discovered new ways to bring in information outside of sitting and reading a physical book. I listen to audiobooks and I listen to them over and over and over and over and over again to really understand the concepts, right? And really figure out ways to be able to implement them in my lives and then be able to teach them to other people, right? But it's pushed me to keep learning and keep evolving and keep improving and keep moving forward toward the goals that I have, even as things have gotten tough. That mission of mine still hasn't changed, right? So take a moment and ask yourself, what would you really like to do? Yeah, we're learning the skill of trading, and it's a vehicle to help us do other things to develop the financial security and to really, really learn about ourselves. But it's a vehicle that will allow us to do more things. And what are those more things for you? Right? Because once you find that answer, you'll see things really start to come into alignment. Right? So after what do you want to do? Then can you do what you want to do? Right? Since you figured out what it is that you like, the next question is, can you do that thing? Right? And yes, I'm a believer that you can learn any and everything possible, right? You can learn the skills and you can do it, but I'm 39. me saying I want to go be an NBA player today is pretty unrealistic, right? So there are some things that I can't physically do, right? But you can develop the skills to learn things to potentially be in that environment. But the actual playing I can't do, right? You you don't need to be an expert in whatever it is that you want to do right out the gate, but you need to be committed to learning the skills and the knowledge and building relationships that are necessary. And those skills will come little by little, reading, exploring, attending conferences, building relationships, right? Modeling people that are doing it, and you'll get closer to where you want to be, right? And so maybe you want to be a photographer. Right now, you're working a 9 to 5. That doesn't mean you can't spend your weekends shooting photos, watching tutorials and practicing, right? Or even offering to take pictures of friends and family for different events, right? It's about starting to stretch yourself where you can to start to learn those skills to then be able to implement to scale that side up while you scale the job down, right? Or my NBA example, I can't go play in the NBA today at 39, right? But coaching, mentoring, right? Being a high performance coach, I can learn those skills to then go be able to do, right? The point is, just because you can't do something at its highest level right now doesn't mean that you can't do something about it. You can learn the skills required, right? So ask yourself, can I do what I want to do? If the answer is no, then it's time to start figuring out how you can take small steps, small meaningful steps toward it. Massive action, but step by step. And starting that today. Even if it's just for fun, for free, you can step your way through it. Now, the next question, after you answer that question, in discovering passion and expanding your awareness of self, I think this is one of the most important questions that we have to ask ourselves, right? And this is where most people get stuck. Are you willing to pay the price? Growth is never for free. It requires effort, time, discomfort, and work. So many people fall short of their full potential because they lack, not because they lack the talent, or not even because they lack the opportunities. The opportunities can be right in front of them. But most people are not willing to put in the work that's required to achieve said thing. They want the rewards, but they don't want the process that comes with it. And that's where they stop. We've glamorized this personal growth journey, right? Social media and it's glamorized personal growth. And when people get on this journey, a lot of people they fall off because it's not what they were told it was. Just like trading, right? It's not what you were originally told that it was. This growth journey is not glamorous. You got to be willing to get in the mud with yourself. It means sacrifice. It means persistence. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means asking yourself those difficult questions that you've been running from for the past 30 years. It means shifting your perspective on how you saw that negative experience to identify what you can learn from the experience to then be able to move you in the direction that you desire to go. But if you're not willing to ask yourself the hard questions, if you're not willing to dig deep down inside of yourself to shift your perspective, to see the world differently, to understand people differently, to understand that the world is broken and they only give what they have, so you can give grace to them as you give grace to yourself. If you're not willing to have those conversations with self, this personal growth journey isn't for you. But you should want to ask those questions if you desire more. But you got to be willing to put in the work. You got to be willing to put in the work. If you're serious about reaching your goals and expanding yourself and really changing your current experience into something greater, you need to ask yourself, am I willing to do whatever it takes? One of the best parts about the world that we live in today is almost anything that you want to do, you can start doing right now. It's easier than ever. There's more access to information than ever before. You want to be an author? Sit down and start writing today. You can publish a book next week. You want to be a professional musician? Thousands of lessons online. I was 2 months ago, Logan and I started learning how to play the guitar online. You can access it instantly. No matter what you're passionate about, the resources to begin are literally at your fingertips. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start, because the perfect moment will never come. You create the moment by taking one step. It will not be easy. There are going to be days you get tired. Going to be days you want to quit. There are going to be days that you doubt yourself. Going to be days that the progress feels painfully slow. But in those moments are where you really have to press in. You really have to press in and ask yourself and remind yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. Why do you want this? What about this drives you? What is your why? Discovering your passion will help you to then develop your why. Why do you do what you do? And that why can be strong enough to drive you through those tough times. That passion. It'll remind you that the process is the price that is worth paying. Because this is where we're going. This is who we're becoming. So I want you to reflect on this question. Are you willing to pay the price for your growth? If your answer is yes, you must take your first step today. Start writing the first chapter of the book. Start that first lesson. Sign that contract with yourself, commit to the process, and let's go. Told you guys last week, right? This I'm in this space of I have to take more action. I have to implement everything that I've been teaching and that I'm learning to get me to the next level that I'm going to. And it's about action, daily action. You can start today on whatever that next phase of your life is. Perfect moments never come. They never create themselves. There will never be a better time. The better time was 20 years ago, but the next best time is today. Whatever it is, whatever you're passionate about, whatever the goals are, today is the best moment for you to start. And that's what makes the law of awareness so powerful. It doesn't just help you understand where you want to go, but it empowers you to start moving toward it immediately. So if you're serious about growing, if you're serious about growing, be intentional, start to becoming more aware of who you are, and really dig and ask those hard questions that we run from every day, and commit yourself to the journey. Like really, really, really ask yourself these questions. Hold on one second. I'll be right back. I want to show you something. So when I'm talking about action, right? Like literally asking yourself the question and writing down all of the thoughts, right? This is a, a day of journaling some of these questions. And I have about 4 or 5 more pages that I have to get in this morning. Like really taking the action. One of my things is I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning because I have to get a workout in before we start our sessions. My health has to be better. So I have to get a workout in before we start our sessions. And then after I drop Logan off at school, I got to come back and do my second workout because I know the rest of my day is going to be way too busy. So if I don't do it in the morning, then it won't get done. And Ryan has to lose 40 pounds to be in better health. So I have to make this commitment to myself. But I also realize that I have blockers that I have to get out of my head. What stopped me? What I've placed meaning on things that have ultimately stopped me from doing certain things. I made excuses for myself that I shouldn't have, that I'm learning how to walk through. Just because I teach this doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I still have things that I have to overcome as well. And it's all about the continuous growth on this journey, man. But we have to be willing to ask ourselves the questions and have the difficult conversations to take that next step. So how do you start? You start by assessing where you are right now. Where are you? Where do you desire to go? What do you need to learn? What skills do you need to develop? What habits do you need to build? What habits do you need to break? When you're honest with yourself about where you are, you can create a very, very, very clear path toward where you want to go. And it's not about making giant leaps overnight. Me getting in better shape, me losing this weight, start out with 15-minute workouts. 15-minute workouts. But I'm giving my all in that 15 minutes. Every day, twice a day. 15 minutes, 15 minutes, I'm giving everything that I have. Right? Every day there are action steps that I have to take on discovering these blockers within me to work through them so that I can take more action tomorrow. So maybe it means you reaching out to a mentor, or you finding groups that are within that new passion area for you, and starting to surround yourself with like-minded people that are learning the same skills, starting to build some of those relationships so that you can start to learn the things that you don't yet know. Whatever that looks like for you, don't wait for inspiration or the right time. Start now. Start now. In order to expand your awareness and to create, what's the word I'm looking for? Reference points on things that help or move you in the direction and things that don't, you have to do. So all of those thoughts that you have, those little pieces of intuition, you have to take action on them. You have to take action on them to really understand, did this move me or did it not? And now you know if it didn't, that's a reference point to say, nope, that's not the direction I need to go. And if it moves you, now that's a reference point that you keep. And as you're moving, you can say, okay, this is my reference point. Now I can take a step here. So all of those small whispers, all of those small nudges, don't wait on them. Do them now. A few weeks ago, I told you guys I'm on this journey to figure out. I understand why we do what we do, and I understand how it all works internally. But now I'm on this journey of understanding how to create it faster, how to get people to change quicker. And one of the things is doing it now. When the thought comes, do it. When that nudge comes, do it. Don't wait. Don't, oh, I'll get to it someday. Benny reminded me last week, right? The road of someday leads to a town of nowhere. Nah, today, today, the law of awareness is action. Growth will not happen by accident. It happens when you intentionally decide The root word of I forget the root word of decide, but ultimately means to cut off. It's something like dicadore or something like that. But to cut off, when you decide, you cut off the other options. This is what I'm doing. When you decide to move forward with intention, great things happen. Awareness expands. And the beautiful part about it all, the more you grow, the more aware you become. The more aware you become, the more you grow. You can start this cycle, this positive feedback loop of growth and awareness, identifying new potential. Let me grow in that direction. Let me become more aware. And the journey feeds itself. But we have to take action to start the cycle. So, what's one thing today that you can do to move you closer to your goal? One step you can take right now and do it. The sooner you start, the sooner you'll see the growth in that area. Sooner you'll see more of what you're capable of. You may not see it all today, but when you take action, the next door will open. Faith. So the question is, what's your next step? That's Mindset Monday, good people. Floor is open. Thoughts, feedback, questions.
What up, Doc?
Joy, what's the deal?
Slow motion. Boom. Got a head start on you. So last week, I did something that was like right then and right now. Someone I refused to talk to. I said, you know what? Let's meet up at Starters. Let's meet up at a restaurant. And so the first place didn't work out, so we ended up going someplace else. And we sitting there, and naturally we joke to each other. I said, "What's up, baby?" Because he kind of gained some weight. He was like, "Oh, I'll forget you." And you know, that was just me, and I guess because I was raised around me, and just tell him like, ain't no hard feelings. And so we got to talk, and he like, "Why you just cut me off like that?" I said, "Because I'm in the point of my life. I don't have time. I don't have time for BS. I don't have time to pretend. I don't have time to make things up just to get along to get about. I'm not about to get along to get about on my free time.
Yeah.
And if you're not with the program, then you are in the way." So we resolved that. The next thing I did, I downloaded the app to learn how to speak Spanish while asleep.
Let's go.
And the third thing I did was arrange my pictures. Last year, I moved around a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I'm missing one house. I just thought about it last night. And what I did was I took a picture at these places that I live, and I am going to outline my book. So
Whoa.
I
Let's go.
I
Let's
think for
go.
26, I'm gonna be realistic because I don't know what I'm doing.
Let's go.
I think I'm aiming for 26, but I'm going to each one of those pictures I'm gonna share a story.
Let's go, Joy.
Yep.
I
So
love it.
I beat you. Told you, get out of my head. Get out of my head.
Let's go. Hey, we're going to track that, Joy. Joy's book coming 2026, everybody. Her first of however many. Let's go. Let's go. I love it. I love it. Kudos to you. That's super exciting. Kudos to you, Joy. Action, good people. Action, 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 action. Anybody else got thoughts, questions, feedback?
Good morning, everybody. I know
Good
that
morning, Miss Dunnet.
I never heard awareness is action like that. I guess it definitely puts it in perspective that you have to take action. Thank you for the questions. I guess for me, I never really, I don't know if I have a passion, I guess, but that was good for me to kind of reevaluate to get to your purpose. I know for me at this stage of my life, I know what I don't want, and
Uh-huh.
I know what I do want. But I don't think it's a passion. I think it's something that is necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
But kind of questioning where that passion comes from was really kind of unique for becoming aware. But today was really, really good. I really enjoyed. I know exactly what I want as a goal and working towards that. So putting in the work, but really being intentional. So um, thank you for today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And thank you for that. And a lot of times, most people don't know you're ahead of the game because you know what you want, right? But discovering the passion within that is the next step, right? And so going down the line of questioning of, okay, this is what I desire. This is where I'm going. What within that process, what within that experience drives me, right? And it's going to take some time of figuring out, continue to ask yourself the question. And as you continue to take action toward that, you'll start to peel back the layers, right? But continue to ask the question, continue to seek it. Seek and you shall find, right? The more we focus on it, the more it opens up. So continue to ask yourself that question. And I believe over time, you'll start to explore more things and find out what really makes you tick. Kudos to you for having some aspects of this already in place. It's beautiful. Any other thoughts, feedback, questions?
Oh, you know what? The follow up Saturday morning. I ain't gonna even lie. Thank you for the sleep. Thank you for the technical issues. Because I rolled over and I was like, dang, I don't think I'm gonna make it today. But one thing I will do is get up for the ritual. Um, I sat and I determined, um, I said if trading is going to be a business for me, how am I going to approach it? So I sat down and when I tell you I was on everything like trying to get an understanding of the components of oil. Said I want to be an oil energies or commodities trader. Still, I'm narrowing it down. I'm still gonna have like a couple of currencies, but I think I really want to just focus on gold, oil, and energy. And then so I was looking at like, because I just didn't know where to go, like the imports and the exports of who do it, and put the pieces together what Benny, tells us when I was like, oh, Venezuela, there go that Venezuela again. And so, and then when I shared the other article about how they liquefied natural gas, learning, and I just did that on Saturday. And then I started, putting together the pieces Benny was saying, as far as the components. Hey, here go gas, but then here go this transportator of gas and their company and their stocks, and then that's all I was doing. So my main focus was on gas. Because I think gold is probably just bonds and yields, price action, fears, and greed. As far as with gas, it's technical components, because it's a global. I learned the new word, global macro. And so just trying to build my vocabulary, just being a student. And I think this week, this is what it's going to be for me, is just being a student this week.
That's beautiful. The more action you take, the more you discover. And now Joy's discovered. Yeah, drop sevens in the chat for Joy and done that. The more you take action, the more you discover. Now you've discovered that you're fascinated with the process of the creation, right? And so now you're looking at, okay, so this is what they do. Now, who does this and who does this? And what are these smaller companies that work to process, to liquefy gas? Who does that? And how does it happen, right? And so you go down this line of discovery and you figure out so much stuff. And now you're like, this really makes me tick. This makes my mind run. This gets me excited. But it started with you being inquisitive.
No, it came from me watching Kevin Hart's movie Heist.
Okay.
I don't know if y'all seen it yet, but it's this guy. He make money in the stocks on global catastrophes, and it was deep. It was just deep. I'm like, dang, that's kind of bold. But then he forced a catastrophe to make money off of it, and that was his demise. And it was like, okay, yeah, you was making money off people downfalls and what, so to speak, but the minute you try to self-manipulate is the downfall. And if you just let things happen naturally, everything will come to you.
But you took that and then you went and
I did.
Looked up something.
That's why I be
asking the question.
That's why I be asking me, hey, is this war gonna be any effect? What about this little piece of news? What about this? That's why I do ask.
Yeah. But being inquisitive, man.
Yeah.
Being inquisitive, it opens up so many doors.
My brain hurt though.
I love it. I love it. Good people. Look, if anybody else has any thoughts that you don't want to speak or can't speak right now, that's cool. You can send them in the community. You can send them to me in a message. Either way, right? I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on where we're going and where you're going, right? What actions are you taking? What decisions have you made? It's time to go. It's time to go. Knowledge for knowledge's sake is just potential. Applied knowledge is where the true power lies. Let's really start applying the things that we're learning every day. Every day. Let today be another building block. Cornerstone and the foundation of the life that you desire. Yep, JC. I forgot to hit record at the very beginning, so I'm going to record this again. And I'll clip the questions and all of that to the end of the recording so that you get the full thing. I think I missed the first like 5 or 6 minutes. So I got you. I got you. I appreciate you. Have a phenomenal Monday, good people. Take some action today. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.